Okay, so when I say I had Orion's belt on my arm, I'm gonna explain it. I had a stroke back in 2020 after, like, literally 2 weeks after having my gallbladder removal, because I had a really massive gallbladder attack. And stupidly enough, I was in the McDonald's bathroom, and that's where my attack came from. Anything can set off your gallbladder. And unfortunately for me, it was I was walking everywhere, and I was not used to having extreme long lengths of walking time. And I was with my spouse and his friend at the time, and I stopped at Tim Hortons, and I've had gallbladder attacks for years, but I postponed too much, and I should have gotten it surgically removed years beforehand, but I didn't. So what happened was that we went to Tim Hortons, and literally, like, I wanted you. Okay, there was this. It was like a creamy chill, and I believe I got either vanilla or strawberry. I couldn't remember. Oh my gosh, my nose. But anyways, I was like halfway done my creamy chill and whatnot, and I was experiencing really bad pains, and I was like, So, ended up having to go to the hospital. I ended up having my surgery for my gallbladder removal, and then I was told to eat certain foods and stay on a more liquid diet, which was fine. And then after doing that for so long, I was able to eat real solid food. So when I started eating solid foods, I was like, okay. So I was under a lot of stress. My body was under a lot of stress. I was dealing with other situations in my life at the time as well. And then I had gotten into an altercation, and that polished me off. So I ended up having a stroke. And then when I was on my Lovenox, because that's what they had to give me, right? They're like, okay, take an aspirin, and right now. So I took my aspirin, and then they said, well, because you're currently pregnant, we kind of need to have you on Lovenox and blah, 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 blah. So they wanted to inject me in my tummy, and I was not okay with that. So they injected me in the fatty areas of my hips and my sides. And that left a lot of bleeding. There was a lot of scar tissue damage. There was a lot of bruising and lumps, and I just never. I understand there are some people that are on Lovenox for life, and trust me, I get it. I totally get it. But my body could only handle so much. So when they were putting me on the heart monitor, getting me ready to check out my heart and how my heart was functioning before even going and entering for my heart surgery in Toronto, I had to wear that heart monitor, and I noticed these 3 brown, I thought they were freckles at first. let me show you. Okay, so when I meant they started out like fucking freckles, I meant it. See, it looks like Orion's belt. And they acted the same way that this one is. And I was, I had eczema, and I was scratching and scratching because it's the same irritation. I scratched them off, and now I have white scar from it. I have white scars from it. So I technically have Orion's belt on my arm. on my right arm. Yay! So after being on Lovenox for quite a long time, my body started having these changes and modifications and stuff like that. And my breathing, because I used to be asthmatic, I don't think I really am after having heart surgery, but I was having breathing complications and stress. And I'm telling you this, okay? While I had my gallbladder, I was pregnant with my daughter Angel. While I had my heart surgery, I was almost a year after having my daughter, because they had to wait until I gave birth, right? And then I'm telling you, stress does a lot of shit, and you cannot be stressed when you're pregnant. You have to make sure that your levels in your bodies are okay. The medication that you're on is doing its job, and you have a lot of support. You have relaxation time. You have me time, which is completely different from relaxation time. And if you don't know the difference, I can tell you in another video. But yeah, so it was really hard for me. And now I have to watch my stress levels. And now being pregnant, I really have to watch my stress levels again. And I'm restricted, but not as bad as being an asthmatic, for airflow and whatnot. So for me, I do have a lot of pressure in the downstairs area of my body because I get stiffness. When I'm overly stressed, they do play a part in how my body reacts and how it manages and heals itself. So it does get quite bothersome sometimes, but in an annoying kind of way. And sometimes it's just it's normal, you just gotta be yourself and learn to breathe and not let things get to you as often as they would have when you were normal, or what you thought you were for normal. So for me, years ago, throughout my entire life, I thought I was normal, but nobody told me about the hole in my heart. And I feel like that kind of neglect from my parents was kind of shamefully disrespectful, because I would have had this stuff figured out and dealt with years before I even had kids. That would have been great to even know. But yeah, I had to find out later in life after having my stroke. Yay! And then I found out that my stroke was actually not just a hole in my heart, not just for some reason I had some form of clot that they don't even know where it even came from in my body. They thought it was my legs, but it wasn't. They thought it was in my groin, but they couldn't find it. There was no traces. So things like that do play a part, and stress-induced conditions play a huge part, and they suck because people die from strokes, and but yeah, so you gotta watch when you're pregnant that you are managing your stress, you're managing how you relax, you're managing everything, and your body will change, and that's okay. So I thought I'd show you. Hope this helps for anybody that is going through same stuff that I did.